Well, let's see. Last time, where was I? I just got like 90% of that inventory done. I was finishing that up. And I was looking forward to moving on and starting to work on some other parts of the game. I also cut this fun little promo for YouTube. It did not go well. Hello, and welcome to catskullGameing. Along the way, Thank you for joining me as I go from knowing nothing about programming. Hello, and welcome to catskullGameing. Thank you for joining me as I go from knowing nothing. Hello, and welcome to catskullGameing. About programming and video game development to making and publishing my own game. Along the way, I'll be replaying Fez and Tunic, two of the games that are influencing my design choices, and playing some new games, Lorelei and the Laser Eye. That's still the plan. And I've been able to play a lot of really fun games as kind of research, looking into different puzzle games. I've been playing The Witness. I played Fez. I played Tunic again. I'm playing The Outer Wilds. I'm really looking forward to starting Lorelei and the Laser Eye. And that part has been working really good. Yeah, that part's I don't know if I'm going to do that tonight. I'm pretty tired, and I might just call it a win for today and play some video games or just take a nap. We'll see. One of the things I kind of figured out when I was in grad school is that when I have something that I really enjoy doing and I really like doing, if I'm passionate about it, and then I want to try to study it, it can really take away a lot of that enjoyment. And so one of the tricks that I found that really helps me maintain my interest in something and that joy of doing that thing is that I try to consume it in a different way if I'm studying it or when I'm studying it than when I'm trying to just be in the moment and enjoy the thing. So when I was in grad school, I read a lot of fantasy novels for fun as a way to relax and decompress. But having to read academic papers for study, I started to listen to audiobooks. And so for games, I'm kind of doing the same thing where whenever I'm trying to study a video game, look at how it's built or think about it that way, I've been turning a camera on and either streaming it or recording it just to kind of put myself in that mindset. I'll say the thing that I really learned from Fez is I like solving the puzzle. I don't like then having to do work after I solve the puzzle. So I don't like language puzzles where you have to decipher the entire language, because once you decipher the language, then you have to use that cipher to read everything, and I don't want to go through the work of deciphering all this stuff. I want it auto-done. So I think this part's important, that there's something in the game that you can click on that just blatantly tells you, hey, this isn't relevant. That way, if you do find something and there's a question, and a player is like, hey, I had a question about this, I know to label it nothing of relevance. They know not to waste time looking at things. Nothing is more frustrating than spending a bunch of time focusing in the wrong area on a puzzle. This is something that I want in any kind of like JRPG or RPG or any big narrative game that has lots of filler and fluff and like cool flavor text. I want something that differentiates between what is flavor text and what is stuff that I need to pay attention to, especially if there's a puzzle that involves me reading through things and there's information that I need in text like that. Like, I don't actually want to read a manuscript to learn how to solve a puzzle. I don't want to actually decipher a text to solve a puzzle. I want to be given that information so I can solve the puzzle. It's a game. I want to have fun. I don't want to be so challenging or so tedious and so workmanlike that I give up. And so having something that just says, hey, here's the area where the relevant information is. Here is you know, if you look here, you'll find the answer. That is very important, because it is one of the things I want to avoid, and one of the things that I just turns me off to puzzle games is that feeling of frustration and stupidity because you don't know where to look, or you don't even know if where you're looking is the right place. It feels very futile. And then you don't even know if you can find clues, and there's all this unknown surrounding what you're doing with no real direction. That sense of feeling lost is something I'm trying to avoid. And so having something like that, I think, is a good way for me to do that. So I'm thinking about locks and keys and ways to block off access in a natural kind of way. So for instance, I want them to be able to print out something like the wiki label, because this goes over binary, which they will need to know to solve one of the, it's important information, it's vital information to solve the overarching puzzle. So by being able to print it out, it places importance on the item, because they've taken the information from one place and now they can take it with them, elevating it. At least that's the idea. But yeah, it's pretty much, I'm back where I was before I went down the inventory rabbit hole. So now it's getting the door panel connected and hooked up to the door, and getting it so that you can walk into the door, it will close behind you, lock, and you can go, and it's a lot, and then go, that's where I'm at. I am literally right back where I was before. So now I need to put the little marble maze toy back in and have it so that when you play the toy, you can interact with other things with it. But next up, door panel, opening and closing. Because once I have it so that there's a function for opening and a function for closing, then the interaction is to call the function, and then I need to make the thing that allows the interaction. So step at a time, step at a time. Ooh, I wanted to come up with a name for the generic corporation besides the generic corporation, or at least a better logo and art. But that's all future fun. So I'm at a point where, I've got this inventory, I've done all this coding and figured out these systems that I want to help me have a game, have something that's fun, have something that I can work on. And I'm starting to figure out what it will look like once that's done, but I still need to figure out assets and make assets and figure out how to do the texturing on them. I need to do animation and character rigging. I want to do sound and sound design, and I still need to make puzzles, because I need puzzles for my narrative puzzle games and a narrative. So that's what I'm looking at starting to work on next. Alright, here's the idea. You come in the door, you need to pick up the trash. You have to pick up trash. Go to the computer, there's a hint. Get you into the computer. Email. So there'll be emails, and then in print, the computer will have the ability to print the wiki binary. Come over here. Alright, so this will give you the binary schematics. Picking up all the trash will be enough weight, so I'll put weight on them. So you can open the e-waste to get the components. Be able to put together the components to interact with this guy, and then using the binary you'll be able to decode the interactor to put in the password. on a note on the trash. Because the hint of the past will be in a note on the trash. And then the computer will have contextual information that sets up the premise of the emails, as well as hints and clues. Because the goal is to pick up the trash and get out the door. A clock. Oh, that's an interesting idea. But, I mean, that's kind of how I'm, iterating through the game. It's kind of how I'm building and designing the game is I just have an idea and I build out a little test and I try and I see if it's fun. And if it is, then I think about keeping it. And if it's not, then I try to figure out how do I make it fun. But, that's kind of my process in building is I have a feeling of an idea and then I'm developing it more and more forward and forward. And so what it ends up being is, I have like the design document's an excellent example of an idea that I start with, and then I just do a lot of barstool game design and see what I end up with. And, I always heard stories about people in game design. They would say things like, oh, this was a completely different game when we started. It was wildly different. I'm like, how do you go from a vision when you start to like something totally different? As an artist, when I make a sculpture, I draw it out and I iterate through the design phase and the drawing. And when I make the sculpture, I'm not iterating anymore. I know what I'm doing. Like, I have a drawing. The stuff is figured out. If I don't do it that way, gravity is not forgiving and the sculpture will not stand. It will fall over if I don't design it right. So that concept of like, we started off with this one thing and it was something wildly different at the end is not something I could ever really wrap my head around. Like, how does that work? I understand better now how that works, even just in this small phase, in seeing just like, oh, yeah, those ideas in your head that you think will totally work might, but they need to be tuned and tweaked in a way that you can get them to work. And I might not have the skill to do that, and I might. So that's kind of the process I'm in. Hello. Alright, I am wearing a silly hat I got at Ren Fair. It's awesome, by the way. I call it my tea cozy hat. And today, instead of keeping on trying to finish up the prototype, I'm actually going to lay out the things that I need to be connected so that I can make sure they get connected. And I know where things go. I have it laid out in my head, but I haven't planned it out on paper yet. And so I'm going to do it right now and see how that goes. So, start off with, I'm going to try using Canva for this. They have a free whiteboard app. I've never done this like this before, but I'm hoping the simplicity of it will let me just quickly lay out how everything should be connected. So here is the kind of diagram of all the things I need that will point to the different things. It does look like a hot mess, but it is organized in my mind and I can read it, at least for now. And so this is the print part. It's going to have to go to the computer. We'll go to the print part, and then computer print. Then at the printer, it prints the wiki for the binary info which is needed, so you know how to interface with the marble machine into the lights. So that's in progress. And then as I keep working through these things, I'll just keep changing the colors so I know that, hey, these things are in, these things are in, these things are in, these blocks have been passed. This one, you can actually, because you can get into the computer. No, is it in here? Alright, because I have the passwords working. I don't have any of this stuff. do have the trash done. So there is that. Let's see, this is a work in progress. Alright, so there's the two areas I've been working on. I need to make wiring diagram, the marble maze. I need to finish up that piece and get it plugged in, get it so it can interface with those things. There's a lot of little things to do, but it's not totally bad. I also have the emails, which are being worked on. So yeah, so hopefully that will help me stay a little bit more organized so that when I sit down to work on stuff, I know exactly what things I am working on, what things I still need to work on. I got to get these things hooked up, and as I do, I can start taking them off. And then once they're all ticked off, I should be able to solve the whole thing and get dug out so you can take out the trash. But that's where I'm at, and I'll see you on the next one. That was the first time I'd ever used a whiteboard or some kind of system like that to try to organize my thoughts. And at the time, it was really useful, and I really enjoyed it. It helped me really clarify things. But looking back on it now, several months later, I understand what it is because it's small. But if it was scaled up or any bigger, I would be so confused looking at that and trying to follow all these paths and these things that are connected all over the place. It's too much for me to keep a mental map in my mind, and the physical map is too confusing for me to parse out quickly and efficiently. It's one of my biggest struggles that I'm having with programming in general, is just keeping that kind of mental map of where the data is, where it's going, how it's connecting up, what is this doing, where is this being sent when these things happen, and trying to organize things in my head so that I can track it all or come up with some kind of system to track it. And this was a great start, but I don't know if it's the one that will work for me. Well, I don't know how much of the animation process I got recorded. I've been recording on and off all day, but this is where I'm at right now. So I have it in the computer. When you hit the print button and the error comes up, you can hit print, and then I need to put a sub viewport viewer, I believe, into here and code so that when the button's pressed, it switches to this viewport down here, and once it switches to this viewport, we get this animation. And so that hey, there's a clue over here, and then we switch back to our original animation. That's what I got. One step closer, because there's one more clue that's needed. Alright. Well, I'm here. I got about this far. I'm going to commit, and then chillax for the rest of the night. Keep getting things done. I gotta go back through that last video since Canva didn't save that little blueprint I made. But at least I have it on that video. I can grab a screenshot, and then from there just start clicking off the things as they get connected up. Need to get this computer knocked out, get that printer knocked out. Those are two of the biggest parts, and then it's getting everything else connected, getting the little maze game made and connected, and then putting all that together so that you can go from one to the other to the other, step to step to step. And then it's going to be polishing, bug fixing, and then adding obfuscation. So still a bunch to do, but I'm making moves, and hopefully now that the inventory's in, I can make some slightly faster moves on some stuff and get this stuff connected and working. So I know there's a better way to do it, but it's another one of those there's a better way, but the way I know is the way I know, and I can just make it work. So I don't have to scale things up yet. That can come later. Alright, I'm gonna chillax. Peace. So, things are going pretty good. all of the various systems are slowly coming together, and I'm starting to build out the different design ideas and pieces of the systems that I need. But it is, you know, very much a shoot for the stars and hope I hit the atmosphere approach. I'm really kind of trying to do the best I can and see what I can get done and see what happens from here and see what I can make. So that's it. That's me. I hope you guys have had a good one, and I'll see you on the next diary. Bye.